Hi there, lesson 6a behind the scenes. Всем здравствуйте, урок 6а за кулисами. And grammar for today is passive, all tenses. Vocabulary is cinema and pronunciation is regular and irregular past participle. Итак, грамматика этого урока: пассивные конструкции во всех временах, вокабуляр – это кино, кинотеатры и произношение правильных и неправильных глаголов прошедшей формы или причастий. And so, as you understood, we talk about cinema this lesson, and we start from the reading. Как вы поняли, мы говорим о кино в этом уроке. Начинаем с раздела по чтению. Look at the definition of an extra and the photos in the article in pairs. Can you think of 3 negative things about being an extra? Итак, смотрим определение extra. A person who is employed to play a very small part in a film, usually as a member of a crowd. Итак, посмотрите на определение. Мы его только что прочитали. Это человек, который играет очень маленькую эпизодическую роль, обычно, частью толпы. Мы будем называть это эпизодической ролью. Хотели бы вы поработать и подумайте о 3 негативных вещах эпизодической роли. Это даже не эпизодическая роль, а, наверное, массовка. Картинка у нас. Вот она. И читаем текст. Read the article. Are you under ideas mentioned? То, о чем вы подумали, о негативных штуках, минусах, будучи актером массовки. Встретятся ли эти идеи в тексте? Давайте читать. The world of extras. Okay, work in pairs. Can you answer these questions from memory? Then quickly look back at the article to check. Вопросы. Нужно ответить по памяти. Пожалуйста, будьте готовы. Если нужно, запишите ответы письменно. What do extra often do while they are waiting? What did the extras have to do in the crowd scene in Jersey Girls? What do you know if the snow is real or not in winter scenes? How do you know? What did an extra do during the filming of Insurgent and what happened as a result? Why are a lot of British films made in Eastern Europe? Why are inflatable extras popular nowadays? What happens when extras watch TV? But before, please, there are some extra words that should be put into the headings. Один момент. Эти слова должны быть вставлены в заголовки, они пропущены по смыслу. The continuation of the text is here. Ответы на последние вопросы вот здесь в тексте. Okay, after finishing, let's discuss. Do you know anybody who's been an extra? What in? Why do you think some people enjoy being extras? Why you like to be one and why not? Обсудим, может, у вас есть знакомые из массовки, почему людям нравится этим заниматься и хотели бы вы попробовать. Section 2 is grammar, passive, all tenses. Look at 6 extras from the text. What tense or form of the passive are the verbs? Смотрите, 6 предложений, выделенные желтым, относятся к определенному времени. Прочитайте и будьте готовы ответить, к какому. And now let's go to grammar, page 142, and do some theory and practice. Идем на страницу 142, грамматика, практическую и теоретическую часть делаем. 6a, passive all tenses. Let's listen to the sentences.
6.1 1.
A lot of films are shot on location.
When is our car being repaired?
Andy's bike has been stolen.
The director died when the film was being made.
You'll be picked up at the airport by one of our staff.
This bill must be paid tomorrow.
I love being given a massage.
2.
The new concert hall will be opened by the Queen.
Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott.
Okay, number 1. We often use the passive be plus past participle when it isn't certain and or known or important who does the action. Чаще всего мы используем пассивный залог, это глагол to be и past participle, когда мы не знаем или это не так важно, кто совершает действие. For instance, Andy's bike has been stolen. Somebody has stolen Andy's bike, but we don't know who. In passive sentences, the object of the verb becomes the new subject. В пассивной конструкции объект действия становится субъектом. If we want to say who did the action, we use by. А если мы хотим указать, кто совершил это действие, можно использовать предлог by. В русском языке чаще будет творительный падеж. We can often say things in two ways, in the active or in the passive. Compare. Мы можем говорить как в пассивной, так и активной конструкции. Сравните. Gladiator was directed by Ridley Scott. We want to focus more on the film, потому что фокус больше на фильме. Ridley Scott directed Gladiator. Ridley Scott снял Гладиатора. We want to focus more on the director. На режиссере делаем акцент. We form negative and questions in the same way as in active sentences. Вопросы задаются точно так же, как и в активных конструкциях. Some films aren't shot on location. Is your car being repaired today? Твою машину сегодня починили? Negative constructions то же самое, также и с отрицательными структурами. We often use the passive to talk about processes, for example, scientific processes and informal language such as news reports. Мы часто используем пассивную конструкцию, чтобы описывать процессы, например, в науке или для очень официального языка, например, для новостей часто используются пассивные конструкции. Then the water is heated to 100 degrees. Воду нагревают до 100 градусов. Many buildings in the city has been damaged by earthquake. Очень много зданий было разрушены из-за землетрясения. So, and some examples, practical part, и теперь практическая часть, A and B. In A, circle the correct form, active or passive. Итак, в A вам нужно обвести правильную конструкцию, активная она может быть или пассивная. The college built or was built in the 18th century. Was built, построили, да, он не сам себя построил. And etc. И так до 10. B. Complete with the passive so that the meaning is the same. Only use by if necessary. People don't use this room very often. This room isn't used very often. Здесь мы переделываем, да, предложение Люди не используют эту комнату часто. Эта комната не используется часто. Иногда можно поставить предлог by, если необходимо. That's it. Be ready with this exercise. Sorry. Section 3. Pronunciation. Regular and irregular past participle. Look at the sound groups and the past participles. Tick the groups where the sound of the pink letters are all the same. If they aren't the same, circle the word that is different. Итак, посмотрите на розовые звуки. Посмотрите на картинки, и звук, который здесь вы услышите, он розовым, да, обозначен. Если вы услышите этот звук, вот, то это нужно галочку поставить. Если вы услышите другой звук, нужно это слово обвести. Please read and be ready to answer. Сделайте и будьте готовы ответить. This part, 6.3, will be done during our Zoom meeting. Let's go on, and number 4 is vocabulary. Look at some extras from the text in 1. What do you think the highlighted words mean? Прочитайте эти предложения, выделенные желтым словом, если вам не желтым цветом, если они вам не знакомы. Догадайтесь, что они значат. And then let's go to vocabulary bank, page 159. Okay, cinema, and the first assignment is about kinds of film. Итак, первый раздел – жанры фильма. We do matching as usual, kinds of films and photos. У вас есть фотографии, 12 of them, and the description of the genre. Please do matching. Сопоставьте фотографиями с жанрами фильмов. Please be ready to know the Russian version. Пожалуйста, будьте готовы знать и русскую версию. People and things match the nouns and definitions. Итак, тоже делаем сопоставление, находим слово и определение. Все эти слова, которые здесь написаны, вы должны выучить наизусть, знать, что они значат на русском. And the last one, verbs and verb phrases. Глаголы и глагольные фразы. Match sentences from 1 to 6, to sentences from A to F. Вот 6 предложений и еще 6, только уже не помечены буквами. То же самое делаем matching. For instance, this film is based on the story of opera singer Florence Foster Jenkins. Matches with E. The film is an adaptation of a true story. Okay, please be ready with this assignment as well. Будьте готовы выполнить все эти упражнения точно так же. After that, you are ready to explain the difference between these pairs of words and phrases. После того, как вы выполните задание по вокабуляру, вы будете готовы объяснить разницу между двумя словами: a plot and a script, a horror film and a thriller, and etc. So the next section is listening. Read about the film Schindler's List. Have you seen it? If yes, did you like it? If no, would you like to see it? What other Spielberg's films have you seen and enjoyed? Прочитайте короткую справку о фильме «Список Шиндлера». Если его не смотрели, посмотрите. Он обязателен к просмотру для культурного человека. Какие еще фильмы Спилберга вам нравятся или вы их видели. Now look at the photos of Dagmara Volkovich and Spielberg. Where were they and what do you think Dagmara was doing in the black and white photo? Listen to part 1 of an interview with Dagmara and Jack. Ваше предположение, вот фотография Дагмара Вольковича и Спилберга. Как вы думаете, что они тут делают? А теперь послушаем и узнаем ответ.
6.7. Part 1.
So, tell me, how did you get involved in the film, Dagmara?
Well, as you probably know, Schindler's List was shot in Krakow, in Poland, which is where I live. I was a university student at the time, studying English. And the film company set up their production office here 3 months before they started shooting the film, and I got a job there as a production assistant, preparing and translating documents and the script.
But how did you get the job as Steven Spielberg's interpreter?
Well, it was a complete coincidence. Just before the shooting started, there was a big party in one of the hotels in Krakow for all the actors and the film crew, and I was invited too. When I arrived at the party, the Polish producer of the film came up to me and said, "The woman who was going to interpret for Steven Spielberg can't come, so we need you to interpret his opening speech."
How did you feel about that?
I couldn't believe it. I was just a student. I had no experience of interpreting, and now I was going to speak in front of hundreds of people. I was so nervous that I drank a couple of glasses of champagne to give myself courage. I must have done a pretty good job, though, because soon afterwards, Spielberg came up to me to say thank you, and then he said, "I'd like you to be my interpreter for the whole film." I was so stunned, I had to pinch myself to believe that this was happening to me.
Now you know who's Dagmara Volkovich or Dagmara, and probably now you know what the photo means. Okay, listen again and mark the sentences true or false and correct the false sentences. Послушайте еще раз и отметьте, правда или ложь, вот эти 6 предложений. Making notes. When we make notes, we only write down keywords. We write film set every day, not she had to go to the film set every day. Когда мы делаем заметки, мы делаем это коротко, не все предложение пишем, об этом речь. Now listen to 3 extracts from part 2 of the interview. Complete the gaps with the key words. А теперь послушайте вторую часть, отрывок, и вам нужно вот в эти розовые прямоугольники вставить ключевые слова.
6.8. 1.
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras.
2.
It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
3.
The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right.
Okay, and now you are going to listen to the whole of part 2. Read the questions, then listen and write down some of the key words. А теперь послушаем вторую часть полностью. Но перед этим давайте прочитаем вопросы. How many times were some things repeated? How did that make Dagmar feel? Why did Spielberg start shouting at her? What happened after that? In general, how did Spielberg treat her? What example does she give? What scenes was she doing to appear in as an extra? Why did she not appear in the final version of the film? Did she ever work with Spielberg again? What other old what offer did Spielberg make to Dagmara? Does she regret on accepting it? Now let's listen.
6.9. Part 2.
So, what exactly did you have to do?
I had to go to the film set every day and translate Spielberg's instructions to the Polish actors and also to the extras. I had to make them understand what he wanted them to do. It was really exciting, and I often felt as if I was a director myself.
So, was it a difficult job?
Sometimes it was really hard. The worst thing was when we had to shoot a scene again and again because Spielberg thought it wasn't exactly right. Some scenes were repeated as many as 16 times, and then sometimes I would think that maybe it was my fault, that I hadn't translated properly what he wanted, so I'd get really nervous. I remember one scene with lots of actors in it, which we just couldn't get right, and Spielberg started shouting at me because he was stressed. Eventually, we got it right, and then he apologized, and I cried a little because I was also very stressed. And after that, it was all right again.
So, was Spielberg difficult to work with?
Not at all. I mean, he was very demanding. I had to do my best every day, but he was really nice to me. I felt he treated me like a daughter. For instance, he was always making sure that I wasn't cold. It was freezing on the set most of the time. And he would make sure that I had a warm coat and gloves and things.
Did you ever get to be an extra?
Yes, twice. I was going to be in 2 party scenes, and I got to wear beautiful long dresses and high heels. Unfortunately, one scene didn't make it to the final cut of the film, and before we started shooting the other one, I tripped walking down some stairs and twisted my ankle really badly. I was in so much pain that I couldn't take part in the filming. And that was the end of my acting career. I still have the photos of me looking like a girl from the 40s, though.
Have you ever worked with Spielberg again?
Yes. A year later, he invited me to interpret for him again, this time during the premiere of Schindler's List in Poland, which was broadcast live on national television. Before that, he had also asked me to come to work as a production assistant on his next movie in Hollywood. I was very tempted and thought really hard about it, but I hadn't finished my studies yet, and all my family and friends were in Poland, so in the end, I decided not to go.
Oh. Do you regret it?
Not at all. I had my moment, and it was unforgettable, but that was it.
Okay, you should be ready to answer these questions after you've listened to this second part. And think about, would you like to have done Dagmara's job? Do you think she made the right decision in the end? Хотели бы поработать как Дагмара? Думаете, она приняла верное решение? And we have speaking, reading the cinema interview. Think about your answers and reasons. Итак, интервью. Can you think of a film you've seen which was incredibly funny, made you feel good? И так далее. То есть подумайте о фильмах, которые вас заставили, например, быть грустными, или наоборот развеселили, или так далее. Do you prefer seeing films at home or in the cinema? Tell me about a really good film you've seen in the last year. Фильм, который понравился в прошлом году, например. То есть мы говорим о кино, будьте готовы. And the last assignment here is writing a film review. Write a description of a film you would recommend. Итак, здесь есть часть письменная. Будете писать ревью на киношечку. Let's go to 119 and see the instructions. Идемте на страницу 119, посмотрим инструкции. A film review, classic films you must see. Please post your suggestions. The Force Awakens. The Force Awakens is the 7th film in the Star Wars saga created by George Lucas, and the film was, and here starts your assignment. Let's see what we have here. Итак, слова, которые нужно вставить, они даны здесь. Action, directed и так далее. Мы будем читать о 7-м фильме Джорджа Лукаса, посвященный Звездным войнам. Поэтому прочитайте это определение, этот короткий текст дважды. Обозначьте параграфы, где дано the plot, основная часть, the name of the film, the director, the stars and any prizes it won, and why you recommend the film, where and when it is set, where it was filmed. Итак, нужно поставить параграфы в правильном значении, с чего начинается, с чего заканчивается, чем продолжается. Посмотрите на третий параграф. Look at the third paragraph again. What tense do we use to tell the story of a film or book? Какое время мы используем, чтобы описать, что происходит? I think it's obvious now. Думаю, сейчас понятно, какое. So, next, have you seen The Force Awakens? If yes, do you agree with the review? If no, does the review make you want to see it? Если вы смотрели эту часть, согласны ли с обзором или нет? Как мы описываем фильм? Describing a film. It was directed or written by. It's based on a true story, например. It stars в ролях. It is set in. Снимался где? It was filmed in. The film is about. In the end, I strongly recommend the film because. And now write a description of a film you would recommend to people. Plan what you are going to write in the 4 paragraphs using the paragraph notes in B. Вот здесь. Use the language from describing a film box and vocabulary bank cinema to help you. Итак, теперь вам нужно написать подобную обзор на фильм. Выбирайте сами, используйте лексику, которая дана в vocabulary bank. У вас должно быть 4 параграфа, так же как здесь. Please write, check your description for mistakes, grammar, vocabulary, pronunciation, punctuation and spelling. Проверьте, напишите, проверьте на предмет ошибок и подгружайте, как обычно, в Classroom. That's it for now. Thank you for watching this video lesson. See you during our class to check the exercises and do some extra. На этом все. Спасибо, что посмотрели, сделали упражнения. Увидимся на паре и все проверим и сделаем еще дополнительный. That's it. Bye-bye.